Well, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Tonight, I am not going to lose my voice on you for those who were here Sunday night. If you'll take a moment to turn to Genesis chapter 2, that is one of the areas I will be talking about tonight. My dad told me a very funny story about how some Sundays he has to write on the very top of his message, "You will be eating alone today." Well, I wrote that on the top of mine, but then put at the bottom, "Psych, we already ate." This message is called Rest. And if you're listening to the name of that and going, "Oh, this is going to be a good break night," I am not sorry. Because this message is speaking just as much to me as it's going to any of you in here that need to hear it. And I'm not going to lie, we come as we are, and I am intimidated tonight to preach this because I have never preached a message like this, ever. And so I'm a little scared. But as I said on Sunday, I have to inhale it and exhale it out, and so I'm going to keep doing that. So in Genesis chapter 2, "Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all of the hosts of them. And on the seventh day God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made." We know in the beginning that God created everything, but it's so amazing that he took that day of rest. And not only did he take that day of rest, he then sanctified it and made it holy. Whew! Then I think we should be resting. But Michaela, you don't understand everything that's going on and everything that's on my plate and everything that I have to get done, and that's why we have 6 days to handle it. Rest isn't something that should be taken for granted. That's a commandment. It's not just God saying, "Okay, I think you should rest today." It is a commandment. If you're not resting, I'm sorry to say, you're sinning. Myself included. I was absolutely horrible when I worked. I was the one that if I called in sick, I was calling in dead. Because I would push myself and push myself and push myself and push myself. I worked all the way up until my water broke with my son. I called about an hour before I needed to go into work to let my supervisor know that my water broke, I'm not coming in. And after a while, running and running and going and going and going, you get burned out. I got burnt out a lot. Last year, I was in a really bad car accident. The week leading up to it, we were in the middle of moving, and I was working, and then there was nights I was being called in the middle of working, and I would not slow down. And that night, when I felt like I could not handle any more, on top of it, a little girl pulled out in front of me, and I broke my arm in 3 places. I broke my foot in multiple places, major internal bruising, and that put me to a halt for multiple months. And when I tell you the stir craziness I felt being stuck in bed, because all I wanted to do was just go and go and go and get things done. And even laying in bed with a cast on my arm, I was still telling my husband, "I need to get up and do these things." And he's, "No, you're not. You're going to sit right there. You can't get up and do these things right now. Let me help you." How many times have you been so busy that it takes away from your friends, your family, your spouse, your kids? Because yes, you can go through and Sunday we have this, and Monday we have this, and Tuesday we have this, and Wednesday we have this, and Thursday we have this, and Friday we have this. Saturday we have this. Oh no, it's back to Sunday. And now we have this on Sunday. And we have this Monday. And we have this Tuesday. Where do I rest? Well, if that is how your weeks are going, reroute your whole week. Even if you can't pick Sunday because you work in ministry somehow, pick a different day. It is so important for you to rest. God rested. I think if he did it, we should be doing it. And he didn't just do it randomly in the Bible. He did it at the very beginning, the 7th day ever of creation, and he took a break. I've never created a whole universe, but I guarantee you I would be pretty tired after doing it. And I like to think that God probably was sitting back with the angels saying, look at everything and how awesome it is. I would have loved to have been there when everything was new. I really would have. To go from a black void to everything that was the garden and the world and the universe, and that just sounds beautiful to me. But there's the creationist in me talking. Jesus even rested and told his disciples to rest. Traveling and preaching and performing miracles, I guarantee you he was tired. Yes, he is the Son of God, but he was still a human body. And the human body gets tired. The Bible tells us 365 times to do not fear or worry. And knowing that, I wanted to know how many times the Bible told us not to be afraid. To rest. And depending on your translation of the Bible, it is anywhere from 390 times to 520 times. There's 365 days of the year, and depending on your Bible, it tells you between 390 and 520. I think we should be listening to that. Myself included. I'm not standing up here to say, oh, well, I absolutely take a Sabbath day and I absolutely do. I am horrible at that. Terrible. Take a break? What's that? I'm a mom. I have 2 kids under 3 years old. What's slowing down? My son sure does not slow down, ever. He's always doing something. Even when he's sleeping, he's still moving. He never slows down. And sometimes I forget that I need to just sit down and be with my kids. Because I don't want my kids to look back and go, well, mom never slowed down, so I don't need to slow down. I don't want my kids to experience what it's like to be so physically unrested that the weeks just drag on of, okay, Sunday's this, and Monday's this, and Tuesday's this. I really need a vacation. Wednesday's this, Thursday's this, Friday's this, Saturday's this. Oh, I have this little period of time on Saturday. Oh, what do you mean I don't have something on the calendar? Okay, I guess Saturday's busy too. That's not what we're supposed to be doing. It's a commandment. Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. God does not want you so burnt out that you come into the church and go, I'm just not feeling it today, God. I've got so much to do after church. God, I can't sit down with you today. I'll just pray while I'm walking because I just do not have time. I do not have time. I can't sit with you today. If you did that to your spouse, how would that go over? If we are to be the bride of Christ, how would that go over if every day we told him, well, I'm sorry, my schedule's full. I can't have dinner with you tonight. I'm sorry, the schedule's full. We can't go and do that trip that we wanted to do. I'm sorry, I've just got too much to do. I can't just sit down and be with you tonight. I've got to do this. That's wrong. He does not want us to be completely and entirely absorbed in the everyday busyness and just be so unrested. That's not what he wants. Some people may be listening to what I'm saying and going, well, I take a Sabbath and I'm pretty good about not overworking myself. Okay, that's great. And I'm so happy for you. But there's other types of unrest too. And I struggle with one of them. It's called anxiety. My brain never shuts up, ever. It's always thinking about everything, every little detail, every conversation. It doesn't stop. And that weighs on you. And we're not supposed to do that either. In Hebrews chapter 4, verses 9 through 11, there remaineth therefore a rest to the people of God. For he that is entered into his rest, he also hath ceased from his own works, as God did from his. Let us labor therefore to enter into that rest, lest any man fall after the same example of unbelief. Before I take communion, I always say a prayer. And I have never shared this out loud before. Lord, if there is any sin that I have committed that I am not aware of, please bring it to light. Because I don't want to do it and I want to change. I never knew by not resting I was sinning until God gave me this message. And the weight that I have felt from that is gone. Because if we didn't know about it, how could we ever change it? Because at first when I wrote this message, I just kind of sat there shaking my head of, how do you find me worthy enough to preach this? I can't practice this. And he goes, yes, you can. You wrote it in your notes. If your weeks look like this, reroute your weeks. If your brain is so overwhelmed with thoughts of depression, anxiety, anger, rage, I have postpartum rage, so if you're struggling with rage unrest, I understand it. I really do. The Bible tells us that we give our thoughts to the Lord. You do not have to be so weary. He wants us to be rested. Now, don't get slothful, because that's a sin too. I'm not saying take your days away of, okay, I'm going to sit in the chair, kick your feet up, watch TV. That's not what I'm saying, because that's a whole nother issue. But if you're spending your every waking moment non-stop going, stop. This is your stop sign. It's way up here saying, please, slow down, because God does not want you burnt out. People in the ministry are so horrible about that. Sunday, okay, church, we're good. Monday, oh, well, I have a meeting today, so I guess I'll just get back to this later. Tuesday, oh, well, we have this at the church, so I'll just get back to this later. Wednesday, oh, it's youth night. Thursday, oh, well, I need to start preparing for Sunday. Friday, I still need to prepare for Sunday. Saturday, well, I guess I could just finish this up tonight. Sunday, I'm keeping it holy so we're good. And that's why so many pastors walk away from the church. Because they just stay in this mindset of, I need to keep going, I can't stop. I can't stop, it just needs to keep going. I had that issue so badly when I started volunteering at my church. I worked up until my daughter was about to be born, and I got to the place where my body was screaming, if you do not stop, you are going to have your daughter early. She had gone into position at 30 weeks. And I had went from having a completely normal pregnancy to a high-risk pregnancy within a matter of a few days of everything being okay. Your body will start to feel it if you do not slow down. Your spirit will start to feel it if you do not slow down. So slow down. I often think of Elijah and how he was just so overwhelmed and he wanted to die. So he slept. And he woke up, and there was food, and he was ministered to. And in that moment, he could have just given up because he was ready to die. And instead, he got back up after he rested and after he felt better and did what he needed to do. Jesus says in Matthew chapter 11, verses 28 through 30, "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Sunday, I was talking about how every breath I take, I want to exalt the Word of God. I want everything I do to give Him glory. That includes me resting. Even if that means, like this morning, when I slept in just a little bit longer because my dad took over with my son so I could. Because I guarantee you, I would have been way too overwhelmed to stand before you right now if I did not take that rest. And I wouldn't have felt worthy to stand up here preaching about rest if I don't start making the change. So I want to challenge you to pray. What is giving you unrest? Is it spiritual? Is it mental? Is it physical? What is getting in your way? Because God doesn't want that for you. His burden is light. I have never once regretted saying yes to Him when He called me to ministry. And I have never once regretted that night that I gave my life to Him. Because so much burden that I was feeling did go away. And yes, life seems like it's chaos sometimes. There for a while when somebody would ask me, "How are you doing?" I would just look at them and say, "Chaos." Because I didn't want to lie to them. But I didn't know what else to say. So I just told them exactly what was going on. It is chaos. There's 100,000 things going on. And most of the time, I hear the words, "Well, how can I help you?" Don't push that help away. If there's something that someone else can do to help lighten that burden, take it. You do not have to do this alone. If God can't come down and take care of the situation, He'll send someone to do it for you. I have had that happen many times for me. Like this morning, I just needed a little bit longer of rest, and that burden was taken from me. When I had my car accident, I had so much that I needed help with. I couldn't shower by myself. I couldn't do anything by myself, and God had my husband there. His burden is light. He doesn't want you walking around with a 160-pound weight on your back. Drop it. Drop it right here at the foot of the cross. Don't take it out the door with you. Whoever needs to hear that tonight, don't take it out that door. Leave it. Because that's exactly what I'm going to do. Leave it. Oh, you who are so tired. Lay your busyness down and let Him carry it for you.